congratulations to you for making it out here from all over the country and even all over the world. I'm so thrilled and honored. So, as usual, I like to have visuals while I talk. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about the state of the movement. And this is a lot to squeeze into 5 to 7 minutes, so I'm going to go a little bit fast because people are doing so much. People are doing so much in the United States. It is so incredible to be involved right now in this day and age in this movement, built on the back of decades and decades of people banging their head against the wall. And I know it feels like we're banging our heads against the wall, because we are, in many ways, especially when we're going to, let's say, lobby on Capitol Hill, but things are moving quickly, and I want to go through some of the amazing things happening around this country to show the way that what we're doing today is not just beginning something, but building on something that continues to build and will continue to build until there is justice. So I just want to start out, everyone knows these maps, right? They're familiar to you, and I think they're very illustrative of the situation and the way that, for example, the occupation fits into a much longer process of colonization than just in '67. So these are useful maps, but in fact I've encountered more and more a lot of Palestinians and others who say there's something wrong with this map, because this map looks like a historic map. Like, for example, the way that borders have been changed around the world as if it's something in history, but it's not in history. As we know, it's continuing. And that's why, to me, this map is much clearer, because it shows that this continues with every minute, with every passing day, and will continue until it is stopped. And the people of Palestine, of course, are at the core of this movement, but it's up to us to support them from here in the United States, and that's why it's so important to be here today. The colonization continues with the expansion of the wall, with the Bantustanization of the West Banks. It continues with the uprooting of millions and millions of fruiting trees in the West Bank for the wall. This is the history, this is the present, and this is the future of the Palestinian people being ripped out of the earth in front of their eyes. It continues with the settlements and the land confiscation. It continues with the attacks by settlers carrying US-made weapons who live basically with impunity. It continues with the system of segregation in the West Bank and a system of apartheid within Israel itself. It continues with home demolitions, the destruction of people's homes, possessions, families, and the laying into the process of displacement in every way. It continues with the demolition of homes and the destruction of lifestyles of people, Bedouins in the Negev within Israel, citizens of Israel, denied their human rights, treated as second or third or fourth class citizens, living as non-Jews in a Jewish state that does not represent them. And it continues with the continuous denial of the right of return to the Palestinian refugees, now numbering millions, many of which continue to hold the key to their homes that they were forced to flee, as a memory and as a sign of resistance that they will not forget. They will pass these keys down to their children and their children and their children's children's children until the day that they're allowed to go back to their homes and their lands, as is their inalienable right. It cannot be signed away by any deal, by any compromise, by anyone, because it belongs to them. And inshallah, the day will come. It continues with the attacks on Gaza, the destruction that is hard to even describe. But the pictures show a morsel, and I'm so glad that we have someone from Gaza to give a more personal touch than I ever could. Gazans living today in an open-air prison, denied their most basic human services and rights. And of course, in the face of all of these obstacles, the Palestinian people remain with what they call sumud, steadfastness, resilience, speaking out for their rights and protesting until freedom comes. And we see week after week villagers march down, protesting land confiscation, the denial of their basic human rights. If you're, for example, as a group marching down to the checkpoint to ask, why can't we go to Jerusalem, to our holy sites, our places of worship, simply because we are not Jewish. These are the images that inspire me and give me hope, and I always like to look at them to remember why we're doing this here today. We hope to have a lot of fun, to be very creative and passionate, but never to lose touch with the people on the ground who don't have the luxury necessarily of doing these kinds actions that we'll be able to do here. So let us never lose them from our minds. Of course, the response to these kinds of nonviolent protests being tear gas, sound bombs, live ammunition, rubber bullets, etc., killing people, and of course, most recently, the Nakba killings that we are all mourning for. Other kinds of creative nonviolent resistance include hip-hop, include the preservation of Palestinian culture, as dominant culture whitewashes Palestinian history. To maintain and to celebrate Palestinian culture is, of course, a kind of resistance. And of course, everyday life within Palestine becomes a kind of resistance. I am inspired by that and hope that that can be really what guides us this weekend, how we can support and look to and learn from the Palestinian people and what they're doing today in Palestine. So congratulations again. I'm not done, but give yourselves a round of applause for being here. About these events is that this weekend is that we're really going beyond the traditional forms of challenging the government here. I have a lot more. Of challenging the government. It's not just petitions, it's not just lobbying on Capitol Hill, it's not just asking, it's demanding, it's being in their faces and forcing them to confront what they're doing. And that's what's so great about this kind of event, and I'm glad you're here. There are other really creative ways of challenging U.S. military aid to Israel that are happening all around the world. Of course, you know the Billboards campaign that keeps growing and growing and growing and is incredible. And actually, I just presented in Europe, and the Europeans, who are really very far ahead of us in boycott, divestment, sanctions, I mean, like they're light years away. But yeah, but they said, oh my gosh, we've never had billboards. We never thought that it was even possible. And there you've achieved that in the United States. And I thought, yeah, we have, and we should be excited. Of course, a lot of these have been met with resistance and been taken down, but you know what? We put them right back up. Give me a cheer if you're from one of the places that's had one of these billboards. Yeah. Yes. Exciting. And then what about guerrilla ads? I think this one was from the Bay Area. Of course, this is a reference to Sabra hummus, which we are boycotting, and we should be boycotting because of the support for the Israeli military. And as we continue to work to end U.S. military aid to Israel, we always remember that change never comes from the top. No, never. I can't think of a single instance. It comes when they are forced to make the change. And that's why we're getting together here. And that is the reasoning behind the new, incredible, or not so new anymore, but the movement that has changed the face of the movement for freedom, equality, and justice in Palestine, the BDS, Boycott, Divestment, Sanctions. This is what I do. This is what inspires me and gives me hope. And I know that I was so excited to hear the cheers coming of all the different people involved in BDS. It didn't surprise me because I cannot even keep up with all of the reports I hear, amazing actions around the country. For example, Adala, New York, that has worked on this incredible campaign to challenge Lev Levi, the diamond dealer that supports the construction of settlements. They have run an incredible BDS campaign that is really an inspiration to a lot of groups around the country. Cheers are from Adala. I know there's at least one or two. The Stop Caterpillar campaign continues in all different facets. Of course, Caterpillar D9 bulldozers are designed specifically to be used to destroy Palestinian homes, uproot Palestinian trees, and really creates the destruction of the Palestinian lives and people. And of course, was also used to destroy, to kill Rachel Corrie in 2003. What we see is really, though, some change on this front. For example, I know that there is at least a temporary suspension of D9 bulldozer deliveries to Israel. Now, this is not something to celebrate yet, but I like to believe that it shows that there's a little potential for change. Evergreen College became Caterpillar free. I think it was in 2000, no, it was last year. It was around this time, right after actually the flotilla massacres. So yes, Evergreen taking